Nasser Hussain. Nasser, great to speak to you again. I know you were on yesterday talking about Ben Stokes, but let's go back to that result for England against the West Indies. I think comprehensive is an understatement. What did you make of the performance?
Well, it was almost perfect, wasn't it? There was a couple of sloppy wickets with the bat because they were trying to improve their net run rate, but in the field it was the perfect performance, and it was against the trophy holders, the West Indies, so it wasn't like a game that they were absolutely expected to go and trounce the opposition. They did them, and they did them brilliantly. It was perfection from Morgan and his team, and at such an early stage in the tournament to have such a confidence boost will play well for the rest of the tournament.
So what do you do, Nasser? Do you make changes, bearing in mind there's some pretty big games coming up, or do you stick with what you got and keep the momentum?
You play the conditions. First of all, Owen Morgan, who has been out here with Kolkata Knight Riders with the IPL, he took them through to the final. He said in the press conference before the tournament, it's very, very important. As you change venues, you change your mindset as well. So the last pitch was a little bit slow and low, and then they've come here to Abu Dhabi, and this pitch has probably been the better of the three pitches. So you change your mindset, you may change your team, and you also look at the injury situation. Mark Wood wasn't fit in the last game. He had an injection into his ankle. I don't think he's going to be fit for this game. I think they'll give him 2 games to get ready for the third. So there'll be some natural changes in selection, but you have to play the conditions. You can't play in Abu Dhabi how you played in Dubai.
Last week, Nasser, I remember asking you if England were favourites for the tournament, and I remember you listed a load of countries that could go on to win this tournament. I heard Darren Gough list about 8 as well. Have you seen anything from these opening few fixtures that maybe gives England the edge and push them a bit higher up?
Well, no, I mean, I gave you 2. I think you've exaggerated with every single side in the tournament I gave you, but I gave you 2, which were India and England. And obviously after that result the other night, with India getting walloped by Pakistan by 10 wickets, an absolutely amazing win for Pakistan, then it just shows you how wide open this tournament is. And even Afghanistan, the way they played against Scotland last night, Afghanistan are going to turn over a few sides with their lineup, I tell you. So this tournament is wide open.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that amazing victory over Scotland yesterday. You said Afghanistan may well surprise a few. Give us another few teams. Now's your chance to cast the net a bit wider. You can have your 7 or 8 favourites.
Well, I mean, I just think Afghanistan, with the way they play, they will come unstuck. They will just roll over and be 90 all out or whatever. But if they get runs on the board, as we saw yesterday, I think they hit 13 sixes in at the Sharjah ground, which is a postage stamp of a ground. It's really small. Then with 2 brilliant spinners, you're talking Mujib, who's right up there with the best, and you're talking about the best spinner in world white ball cricket. That's Rashid Khan. So if they get runs on the board, whoever you are in this tournament, you have to be very wary of Afghanistan, especially in these conditions here, because it's slow, it's low, it turns, it suits their style of play. So be wary of them. It's also a good story with everything that's going on off the field politically. It was a very emotional evening yesterday evening when the anthems were being played, etc. So I'd love to see Afghanistan do something special in this tournament.
Yeah, and they were certainly very good yesterday. In terms of the format of the tournament, Nasser, what have you made of it so far? I mean, I quite enjoyed those early games as a little warm-up to these Super 12s.
Yeah, I did as well. It's a good way of getting into the tournament. It's a good way of getting the associate nations through. And it's a good way to build it up. And then obviously you have 2 massive games to start it off. Well, 2 out of the 3. Every game's big, but India, Pakistan, the global audience on that would have been absolutely phenomenal. And it was virtually a sellout crowd at Dubai, so it was nice to have that atmosphere of an India-Pakistan game. And then a rematch of that final, the West Indies-England game, although it being a very one-sided game. I mean, 55 all out. Who would have ever thought that against the West Indies? So I think the narrative and the story will slowly build. What it does mean, though, the format, you can afford a slip-up, one, because there are 5 games in the group stages, when it used to be 4. When there's 5, you can afford a slip-up, but what you can't do is afford 2, especially the West Indies, whose net run rate now is -5 or something. You know, that's, if you lose another one, you are struggling. And India, obviously they lose to Pakistan. Now, if you lose another one, then they are, you know, if India didn't make it through to the knockout stages, that is an incredible story. I think they will. I think they've had their bad game, but anyone can beat anyone in this tournament.